Hello everyone, welcome to the Ansible meetup. My name is Nikhil Jain. I'm a senior software engineer with Red Hat. Today we're going to talk about Ansible Builder. So in the last session, we talked about how you can use execution environments in AWX, and we showed the demo. And while showing the demo, we saw how to create the execution environments using Ansible Builder. But that was just a very brief introduction to Ansible Builder there. I didn't go into details of Ansible Builder, and we said, we'll have a session wherein we show how to use Ansible Builder and what are the different options available while using Ansible Builder. So this is the session where we are going to talk about Ansible Builder. I will also have a demo wherein I will show how you can create an execution environment and what are the different files that Ansible Builder uses, and some other stuff as well. So what is Ansible Builder? Ansible Builder is basically a CLI tool that helps create the container images, or you can say execution environments for running Ansible. So if you have to create, container images, you would essentially create a container file, and then you would use that container file to create a container image out of it. But that has some drawbacks, as in, like, you would have to first construct a container file, of course, and then you would have to go in a feedback loop requiring us to observe the failures and retry over and over, right? So there could be issues in your container files. You would make some changes, try to create the image again. So there is a process involved in it, right? So Ansible Builder aims to simplify this process by doing a lot of hard work for you. So you don't have to worry about creating a container file, whether my container file is correct or not, and then creating an image out of it. Ansible Builder will do everything for you. Um, like I said, it creates the container images, which are also the execution environment, and the images that it creates are both compatible with Podman and Docker. In fact, while creating the image, you can choose the engine, as in the container engine, which you want to use. So it can be Podman or Docker, whatever you want. So let's look at the demo now, because this is all I had in terms of Ansible Builder's introduction. So let's go to demo now. So this is a directory execution environment which I've created, and there are certain files in this directory that you see. So the most important file for Ansible Builder is the execution environment.yaml. This is the definition file that Ansible Builder reads, and then it creates the container images and the execution environment for you. So what is there in this definition file? So let's look at that. So over here you would see certain key value pairs over here. So version is just the version of your container image or the execution environment that you want to put. And then you can have a base image on which you want to create, on top of which you want to create your container image. This is just an optional field. You don't have to give it, but if you do have a container image which you want to keep it as a base image and then create all your execution environments on top of it, you can use this. Like here I've commented a base image which is AWX image, which I've put in my repository on Quay. I could use that, but like I said, it's an optional. If you don't use that, it will use Ansible Builder will use Ansible Runner container image and create your container image on top of that. Then you would see a dependency section over here. Um, Here you would see a Galaxy and a Python and system. So let's go into them one by one. Galaxy dependencies requirement.yaml is basically the file wherein you would define what collections and roles that you want to put in your container image. This is exactly the file that you would use for using while using Ansible Galaxy. Like, you do Ansible Galaxy -r and then you give a requirements.yaml. This is the same file that you would give it here as well. So If you want to put any collections or roles within your execution environment, you would define them in this requirements.yaml file. Requirements.txt for Python, these are all the Python dependencies that you want to put in your execution environment. So if you want to put any Python libraries that you think that you may want to use in your playbooks, or for any other purposes, then you can put those Python libraries in this requirement.txt, and then while creating the execution environment, those Python libraries will be put within inside your execution environment. One thing to note over here is, so if you have any Python dependencies for your collections, those will automatically be pulled when you install the collection as part of Ansible Galaxy collection install. So you don't have to define your Python dependencies of collection in the requirement.txt, because those will automatically be pulled in when you actually install the collection in the execution environment. And then this system binddep.txt is basically, if you have any system level dependencies that you want to put in your execution environment, you could do that using this system binddep.txt. I've commented it because I'm not using this. Ansible config is basically, the Ansible configuration file that you want to use while creating the execution environment. And then additional build steps. This is basically some steps that you want to run before or after your execution environment has been created. So, pre-append is basically before you actually create your execution environment, you would want to run a yum update, and then, you would want to do a pip install of certain Python packages. You could do anything in this pre-append. This is just basically before, creating the execution environment. And then append is like after I create the execution environment, run this command in the execution environment. So I just want to show, you could do ls in a directory in the execution environment. So you could add certain things over here which could be, useful before or after creating the execution environment. Like for example, you can put CS certificates as part of execution environment, so you can do additional build step, and then you can do a pre-end, prepend, and you can copy your certificates in the execution environment. So these are some options that you have in the definition file for the Ansible Builder. There are some other things as well which I'm not going into for now, but yeah, this is the file that I have. Now let's look at the requirements.yaml and requirements.txt that is part of this definition file. So over here, those two files are also present. So let's look at the requirements.yaml. So over here, I'm defining a collection amazon.aws that I want to install in the execution environment. You can define as many collections or roles you want. I'm just installing one. And then in the requirements.txt, although this collection would install all these packages, I am defining them here as well. But you don't need to do that. In fact, I can, if you want, I can comment them out over here and just have Python datadetails if I want to, and these Boto packages would still be part of the execution environment because those will come via collection. So this is the requirement.txt. For now I've just commented everything because I want to show that these three packages, Boto, Boto Core, and Boto 3, are coming via the collection. And that's it. The demo folder is basically has the playbooks and everything that I would run after I've created the execution environment. So if I go and do a podman images, you would see I've only got 3 images: a runner, a builder, and a AWXE. So let's go ahead and create the execution environment. So the command for that is Ansible Builder build. So this is the command that you would run, Ansible Builder build, and then you would tag your execution environment. So I'm tagging it as my first E, and this is the verbosity. So I'm just running it with the 3 verbosity. So over here you would see it is doing different stages of creating the execution environment. Here uh, here it actually installed the collection that I defined in the requirements.yaml. So over here you can see it installed the Amazon AWS collection, and now it is doing a run assemble. Like I said, right, it will download the Boto packages as part of the Ansible collection install. That's what you did here. You could see these 3 packages were downloaded, even though I had them commented in the requirements.txt. So now it is creating the execution environment or the container image for me. So let's wait for it. It takes about few seconds to minutes before it creates the final image for me. Now it is downloading those Boto core packages as part of the collection. So once that is done, it will create a container file as well, which I'll show. So there will be a context folder within this folder that will get created, and within that context folder you would see a container file as well, which you can also use to create a container image, but Ansible Builder will create a container image as well for us. So you could either use that container file if you want to give it to others and let them create the container images, or you could just publish your container image which is created by Ansible Builder to a container registry, and then let others use your container images. So you can publish those container images on Quay, or if you have your own private registry, you could put it out there and let others use it. So it is doing some like I said, right, with the higher verbosity you see all the stages and all the steps that it is doing. So now it is getting the now it's doing the post steps that I had, right, the prep and the other things that I had in my definition file. So I had this pip install setup tools, so it did that, uh, and now it is tagging that image like I mentioned, and now it has completed the execution environment creation. So now if I do a ls, you would see there is a context file, a context folder that got created, and within that context folder you would see there is a container file. uh, so this is basically the container file that you would create manually if you have to create a container image, but Ansible Builder has already done that part for you. So, and then using this container file itself, it has also created the container image. So if I do a podman images, you would see it has created that my first E, which is the one that I tagged while creating the execution environment. So the image is created, the container file is also created. Now I want to make sure the container image that I created has the collection that I put in the requirements.yaml. So for that I could just do podman run. Yeah, so yeah, this is what I would do. So podman run, then I would use the execution environment and just do Ansible Galaxy collection list, and this should show the Amazon AWS collection that I have in it. So so it did install the collection that I put it as a uh, part of requirements.yaml. Now what I could do is I can try to run a playbook using Ansible Runner, and then using this execution environment. So once you have your execution environment created, you would use Ansible Runner, which is another binary. Maybe we can have another session wherein we go into details of Ansible Runner as well. AWX also uses Ansible Runner in the background. So if you have to use Ansible Runner, the way you would use is, so you would do Ansible Runner. Okay, so I think I have the command here. Yeah, so Ansible Runner run, and then the process isolation is the demo folder that I have here. I'll show you what I have in the demo folder as well. But yeah, you would give your playbook, which is part of this demo folder. So here it is test AWS AMI info, and then you would give the container image that you just created. So container image localhost my first E. So let's copy this, and before running this, let me show you what do I have in my demo folder. So within that demo folder, I have a directory called as project, and within that project, I have got a playbook called as test AWS AMI info. So all this is doing is trying to get the image in the AMI info for this image in this region. So, and like you see, it is using the EC2 AMI info module from the Amazon AWS collection. Like I said, if you have to run that, you would go here, and then I would just, sorry, Ansible Runner. So Ansible Runner run. The process isolation is demo. This is the folder which has the playbook test AWS AMI info inside the project folder, and then I give the container image that I just created. This playbook is going to fail because I have not provided the AWS credentials in my playbook. Those are secrets. So I have not provided them for the sake of this video, but you can see that it tried to use the module, and then it says Boto core exception, no credential error. So basically it did use the module from the collection which is there inside the container image. In fact, maybe we can create another container image which doesn't have this collection at all, and then we can try to see what kind of error do you get. You would get module not found error, which you usually see in Ansible. So we can do that as well. But this is, Ansible. This is how you would use execution environment to run your playbooks using Ansible Runner. So let us, also try to do the thing that I just talked about, where I don't install the collection at all, and I try to use that in the playbook. So let's go to the requirements.yaml, and let's comment this whole thing, and I will also remove the context file, the context folder, just so that it doesn't have the container file now. And now let's try to use the Ansible Builder again. So this time I will tag it different. Let's do my second E, and let's try to build it. So it is now going to create another container image. My bad. I think I so let's do this way actually. Instead of commenting the things in the requirement.yaml, let's comment the requirement.yaml itself here. And now let's try to run it, because what happened was I commented everything in the requirements.yaml, and when I tried to read the requirements.yaml, there was just nothing in it. So what I'm trying to do now is I told Ansible Builder there is no requirement.yaml at all, so it will not go and try to find the file and read it. So now it is creating a container image which should not have the AWX Amazon collection in it, and then we will try to run the same playbook which I ran in the previous task, and let's see what error do we get. So once this process completes, we should have a container image with my second E tagged as my second E. So let's wait for that. So now it has created the execution environment. So if I do podman images, you will see it has created my second E. So now if I try to run the same playbook which I run using Ansible Runner, but I would use the this image, it should fail and it should fail with an error saying module not found. So let's try to see what it does. So there you see, right? You say couldn't resolve the module action Amazon AWS EC2 info because that collection is not there in the image. In fact, I could just do that. I can show that as well. So if I do podman uh, -it, sorry, let's just run that command directly. Yeah. So instead of say first, I will do second, and over here you would see it would say there's just nothing at all. So uh, it didn't install the collection, and like I said, right, when you try to use that collection, it just couldn't find it. So defining your requirements.yaml in a right way is very important, and then while creating the definition file, you need to make sure that you put your requirements.yaml in the dependency section. Um, there are some other options to Ansible Builder build which could be helpful. So like I mentioned, right, it has a container runtime. By default, it uses Podman, but while creating the build, you could define, point it to a Docker if you want, but the default is always Podman. The way you would do is, it might just fail in my case, but I would just show you how to do that. So I would do Ansible, sorry. So when you do Ansible Builder and you would do container runtime and give it as Docker. Like I said, this may just fail in my case, but this is how you would do it. So now you would see it does Docker build, and then it creates a Docker file. And now it's pulling all those images in the Docker because I was using Podman before. So it's pulling up the Ansible Runner, Ansible Builder, all those images that it needs for Ansible Builder itself. So you could change your container runtime using this option while using the Ansible Builder build. But if you don't give it any value, the default is Podman. So this might take a bit longer, um, but like I said, like I said, right, it might just fail because I have not used Docker at all on this machine, so it may not have all the correct configuration that it needs. So going back to Ansible Builder, if you do a help on Ansible Builder itself, you would see there are just three options over here. Build is what we just used. Create is basically just creating a it will create the context or the container image or the container file for you, but it will not create the image itself. So build is basically create the container file and then also create the container image. Create is just creating the container file and not creating the container image. This is introspect is just to introspect the collections in folder. So this is not a very specific thing for Ansible Builder build, but it is just if you want to look at what collections do I have in a folder, you can use the introspect. So these are the three options available for Ansible Builder. Like I said, once you have the image created, you could use Podman publish to publish your images to any container registry. You could use Quay, or you could use a private container registry as well, like Pulp, which is also the upstream to Automation Hub. Um, but yeah, once you have your container images on container registry, anybody can just use it. So this is what I wanted to show for Ansible Builder. In the next session, maybe we'll cover Ansible Runner as well, because right now I just showed you how to use Ansible Runner to run the playbook using the container image, but there are some other options in Ansible Runner as well. So for now, that's it. Thank you.